co-creating at its best, really. You come with your vivid perspective. Yes, you do. Your physical experience makes it vivid, doesn't it? Not easy to be in this time-space reality and be lackadaisical. So much data coming to you, so much information, so many experiences, so many people, so many subjects, so much contrast, so much to choose from. It is exactly as you knew it would be, but better than when you made the decision. Because in every day, this variety that surrounds you expands, so you have more options. And with those more options comes more potential for expansion. Also, with more options comes more reason to understand the process and more reason to achieve conscious control of your own thought processes. Because the more thoughts that are available to you and the more lackadaisical you are about your focus, the more opportunity you have to focus upon things, even things that are true and things that are rampant, things that are chronic, things that are in full bloom, blossom around your planet. There are so many things that could get your attention because they're loud and they're out there that you don't want to give your attention to. Because whatever you give your attention to causes an activation of a vibration within you, and then law of attraction, which responds to all vibrations, brings you and that unwanted thing closer together. But that's really not the reason that we're talking to you about wanting to gain control of the direction of your thought. Oh, it's certainly wonderful to focus upon things you want so that law of attraction brings more and more of those things to you. But there's another factor altogether that is infinitely more important, because the way you feel hinges upon it. And that other factor is the way law of attraction is responding not only to the thought you are currently thinking, but to the vibrational essence of who you really are. You see, it isn't just that when you focus upon some tragedy or some trauma or some absence of something wanted, it isn't only then that you offer a thought about it and therefore achieve a vibration about it and therefore set up a point of attraction about it and therefore begin the attracting of it, this unwanted thing. It's not only for that reason that we're wanting to help you be more deliberate about your thoughts. It's that when you are activating within you the absence of something that you want, and the larger part of you is activating the presence of something you want, law of attraction responding to the presence of what you want and to your activation of the absence of what you want sets up a contradiction, contrasting, resisting vibration in you. And that isn't good for you. It starts out with an indication of negative emotion when that happens. And we say, wonderful guidance system, letting you know you're splitting your energy. Letting you know you're focused upon something unwanted. Letting you know you're focused in the opposite direction, not only of what you want, but of who you are. Big time splitting of energy going on. When you're not loving and the source within you is, split energy. When you hate someone and the source within you loves them anyway, unconditionally, split energy. When you don't have enough money and you're beating the drum of it and the source within you is experiencing the abundance, vibrational abundance that you've already set forth, and understanding that the manifestation is certain if you'll just stop doing that thing you do that doesn't let it come, there is resistance within you. So the emotion comes forth as your indication of your splitting of energy. And if you are unaware of what the emotion means, if you don't know that you are a source energy being mostly, and that you're here in this physical form, and both vibrational aspects of you are going on all the time, and if you're not deliberately working to bring the vibrational aspect of your conscious personality that you know as you into alignment with who you are, if you're not loving, if you don't feel worthy, if you don't feel abundant, if you don't feel secure, if you are not appreciating, if you're not in joy, if you're not living passion, if you're not tuned in, tapped in, turned on to who you really are, if you're beating the drum of not enough, if you're beating the drum of global warming, if you're beating the drum of bad economy, if you're beating the drum of sliding economics in terms of the housing industry, if you're beating the drum and beating the drum and beating the drum, you're using all of those foolish, we love you very much, foolish We love you very much. Foolish. We love you very much. Really ridiculous. We love you very much. Not necessary to focus upon at all. We love you very much. You're using those excuses. Flimsy. We love you very much. Flimsy. Inaccurate excuses as your reason. Your reason for what? Your reason for keeping yourself away from what you want? Yeah. But your reason for keeping yourself apart from who you are. And that's the reason you have negative emotion. You're not having negative emotion because you're sabotaging your industry, or because you're sabotaging your physical apparatus, or because you're sabotaging the success that you've been reaching for. You're having negative emotion because you're separating yourself from who you are, because you're not letting yourself be who life has caused you to become. And if you are unaware of what the negative emotion is telling you about vibrational, separation is really too strong of word, but we so want you to get the point. Vibrational resistance to who you are. If you're not aware of it and then doing something about releasing the thought that is the culprit and the reason, the only reason for the resistance and the separation and the not getting what you want, if you're not aware of it and you're not doing something about it, don't worry, it will get bigger. And the reason it will get bigger is because everything is expanding. So as who you really are is expanding, and who you're focused upon, what you're focused upon, and what you're allowing yourself to be right now is getting bigger, the stakes get higher and higher and higher and higher. In other words, the more you ask and the more the larger part of you becomes what you're asking for, the more important it is for you to tune to that frequency. Because life is causing you, whether you know it or not, to expand. And if you don't keep up with the expansion, then the source within you, the larger part of you, this is an accurate way of saying it, runs off without you. Runs off without you. Oh, hear this. Runs off without you because of you. In other words, the source within you wouldn't be expanding like it is if you weren't exploring contrast. You know how it works. You are source energy. You send a part of that consciousness into this physical body. You explore in your physical body the contrast. You know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And in that process, you are emitting rockets of desires of your personal preferences. It is brilliant how life extracts those from you. Your important personal preferences. So off they go. And then the larger non-physical part of you gives undivided attention to that new preference every single time. So that the result of that is there is this amassing of desire and becoming on your behalf because of you, received by the source within you. A while back, we wrote a book and named it the best name any book has ever been given, Ask and It Is Given. And the reason it is such a good title is because it tells the whole process of what we just gave to you. When life causes you to ask, source responds. An even better title today would be, when you ask, not only is it given, but the larger part of you literally becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you're asking for every time. The amended version. Long title, but better. When you ask, it is given. Not only is it given, the larger part of you becomes the vibrational equivalent of that which you are asking for, and stands in that vibrational place with law of attraction acting upon it. And that version of you is becoming the question that this workshop wants to ask and answer is, what are you doing in relationship to that expansion? Are you, by living contrast and by giving birth to constant new desires about your own personal experience or about the world that you are observing, are you, as you are making your life and the world in general a bigger, better place, are you keeping up with that expansion, or is that broader part of you running off without you? And you can tell by the way you feel, because when you don't keep up, you don't feel good. When you feel eagerness, interest, when you feel exhilaration, when you feel passion, when you have that exhilaration of a new idea, when love is moving through you, when you feel appreciation rippling up your spine, when you are laughing, when you are loving, when you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you are the vibrational equivalent of all that you have become. There's no separation between you and you. You are the vibrational equivalent of that which you have been becoming. And under those conditions, since there's only one vibration that's being offered, you feel great. Not only do you feel great, since there's no resistance in your vibration, you are now there. the vibrational equivalent of all that you've asked for. And since law of attraction has been, even before you got over there, amassing the circumstances and events and rendezvous and other people that are necessary for the full manifestation and materialization and actualization of all that you've been asking for, now there you stand, a perfect match to it, and it must manifest. In fact, it is all around you. And people who are watching you say, "What is going on with you?" And you say, "I've discovered how to release the resistant part of me and rendezvous with the aspect of me that is most becoming. I'm tuned into who I am." Such a nice way to live. So, since life is always contrasting around you, and as we just said, the contrast is getting more and more, what are you to do? You're surrounded by stuff wanted and unwanted, and as you decipher it, you can't help but be, in your human form, exposed to unwanted experiences. Everybody around you is not going to cater to you in order to feather your nest in a way that you can just observe and feel good. And that's what we mean when we say you are wanting to gain deliberate conscious control of the direction of your thoughts. Many of you have a difficult time with that because there are so many thoughts to think, and you use, we love you very much, the screwiest of criteria for deciding what thoughts you will give your attention to. You arrange the thoughts and experiences and manifestations into piles, and you call them good piles and bad piles. You call them right and wrong. You arrange them into religions. You arrange them into attitudes. You arrange them into all kinds of piles where you want to have a comparative experience then of the piles. So you say, this behavior is appropriate and this isn't. But under this condition, this behavior is appropriate. You have this law or rule or idea that you have been bandying around for a very long time. Someone said to you, you said it was God, "Thou shalt not kill." But then you've modified that rule to suit yourselves over and over and over again. You have all kinds of amendments to those rules about these piles that you've amassed, about the correctness or the incorrectness of these piles. Esther sometimes will say to us, she'll be all in a knot about something. And so if she were thinking clearly from the perspective of that which we have taught her, she would know that when she's in that kind of a knot, she's causing resistance by her thought. Resistance that means she's not tuned in to who she really is. But sometimes, in the middle of that knot, she will argue, "But it's true. It's true. I'm not making this stuff up." And we say, "We know you're not making it up. We are just wanting you to be sure right now, since you are using this subject that's giving you this knot as your excuse to deprive yourself from the essence of life. We just want to make sure that it's worth it. And we really don't think anything is worth that. We don't think that there is anything, any subject that is valid enough, big enough, true enough, that there's enough evidence about, that it deserves your attention, and therefore you're disconnecting yourself from the stream of who you really are. We would not use the truth of something as our criteria to give it our attention. We would only use the feeling of something, because when you use the feeling of it, now what you are factoring in is something that most of you have forgotten to factor in for quite a while. You're factoring in your broader perspective. You're factoring in who you really are. You're factoring in who you were before you were born. You're factoring in who you've become since you were born. You're factoring in your inner being. You're factoring in that which you call God. You're factoring in the equivalent of all that you consider to be good. You're factoring in the real basis of that which you are. That's a lot to factor in. And when you factor that out, you feel empty. And that's what every negative emotion is. It's a feeling of emptiness, and the reason it feels empty is because there's less of who you really are in it.